It was in my junior year of college. I got particularly interested in agriculture and started putting together a whole proposal for this honors thesis that ultimately took me down to Chile and back home, where I did all these interviews with farmers and just had an awesome opportunity to get a really solid grounding in some of the ag policies and history and all the things that had shaped U.S. agriculture and, you know, made it sick and made it big and made it crazy, made it industrial, and started feeling like at the same time all of the ecology and environmental studies stuff I was studying was really depressing. Like there was a lot of this is what's wrong with the world and not a lot of this is what we can do about it. And sustainable ag just really started to feel like this wonderful way to proactively do something positive, to feed people and to have a great lifestyle at the same time. Barney is the Palomino, the light-colored horse, and Maud's the chestnut. They're both Belgians. I went to Montana for part of a summer and did a work trade with this master teamster who has a ranch just south of Glacier, and he teaches people how to hitch and harness and drive horses for farming and, you know, other uses. And so I, you know, built fence and fixed equipment for him, and in exchange he taught me some of the basics. And we forged this wonderful friendship that has persisted to this day. So he's been just an enormous support and help to me along the way. Helped me find my team, actually, and just cheered me on as I've tried to make it work. It's definitely a learning curve. For all of the primary tillage and rolling in cover crops and, you know, disking and plowing and harrowing, the horses are great for that, and it's way more fun. I mean, driving the tractor is efficient and fast, but it's loud and stinky too. So I love that meditative space in a July evening with your horses rolling in your buckwheat crop. It's hard to beat. This is actually another great example of something I like to do on the farm. All those yellow flowers are bok choy that's bolted and gone to flower. And I like to let everything that does that flower as long as possible because there's a lot of bees in there and other beneficial wasps and all kinds of stuff that's doing great things for the farm, quiet little invisible things. So I try to keep them fed as well. My mom always says to us, everything we do has to be 51% art. And it's, I think, a big reason why we all love doing this is because there's so much beauty in it. Every day, you know, you're sort of creating this landscape around you that's full of color and texture and shape and geometry and curves. And I feel really lucky farming here because there is this wonderful, tight little local community of mostly ranchers. There aren't a lot of people growing vegetables. I've been really grateful to also be able to carve out a living here because it's not a place where there's a lot of job opportunities. So to figure out how to come home to a very rural, fairly conservative small town and be able to grow local food and sell it and get by doing it has been just an amazing thing and has given me a lot of hope for other places in the country that aren't the New Yorks or the San Franciscos or the Portlands of the world, these hotbeds of food culture. Here in Little Langlois, there's tons of people clamoring for it as well. So I think the same thing is probably true in Nebraska or Arkansas or any of these places that don't make the map every day, food-wise. In the midst of getting the farm started and growing all this food, have been really involved statewide and nationally in trying to help raise awareness about issues facing the next generation of farmers in this country and bring attention to the fact that there aren't very many of us and that the average age of farmers in the U.S. is over 65 or over 57, 58 now, and like a quarter of farmers are over 65. So you have this amazing aging trend in the farmer demographic and not a lot of new recruits coming in behind them. So it raises a lot of questions about where's our food gonna come from down the road. And there are people peak oil experts and other folks out there who are saying we need another 50 million farmers by the middle of this century. which is a huge number when you think about it. And the barriers to entry are so huge. You know, I had the advantage of coming home to a piece of land and being able to start up a business on something I didn't have to make a down payment on. I lease ground from my mom. But a lot of people have to face really expensive land payments or rent payments. They have to learn how to grow food. I mean, a lot of people who want to farm didn't grow up farming at this point, so they have to start from scratch there. Accessing capital is actually a huge challenge, like affordable capital. So to get a loan that you could afford the interest rate on when you're a farmer, finding markets, figuring out how to sell your stuff. There's just all these things that make it a really tough business to launch into. And I think icing the whole cake is the fact that culturally in America, if most people graduate from college and tell their parents that they want to be a farmer, they get scoffed at. What are you talking about, No, you're not. You're going to go have a real career. You're going to go make real money. So there's just not really a culture of support around farming. And I don't think there's a culture of respect around it either. It's not like becoming a doctor. I've had to do a lot of explaining myself, sitting next to a stranger on the airplane and they ask you where you went to school and and what do you do, and they cannot connect the fact that a person with a Stanford degree and a master's degree would be a farmer. Like, what happened to you? Something must have really gone wrong. And how do you help that person understand that this career and this lifestyle is, for me, the most stimulating and challenging possible career path I've experienced so far. Intellectually and physically and in all the ways. But people just can't really relate because there's so little connection to farms and agriculture at this point. I've been trying to do a lot of communications work and outreach and working with groups at the national level and statewide level to help shift that in any way possible and help get another generation of farmers in the pipeline